The first time Olivia saw the alien woman, she thought it was just another hallucination from being alone in deep space too long. 6 months on solo patrol duty could do strange things to a human mind, but this visitor seemed too real, too solid. With her iridescent scales and curious amber eyes, Olivia blinked rapidly, trying to clear her vision. But the alien remained standing in the cargo bay, watching her with that same tilted head expression, something between confusion and fascination. The alien woman stood nearly 7 feet tall, her body covered in shimmering turquoise scales that caught the light as she moved. Her long tail swished behind her, expressing emotions that her face seemed incapable of showing. She wore something like clothing, though it appeared to be made of a living material that shifted colors with her movements. Olivia had been checking supplies when the ship alert system had gone off, signaling an unexpected energy spike in the cargo bay. She had grabbed her standard issue stun gun and rushed down, expecting to find a mechanical failure. Not a visitor. Now she stood frozen, unsure if she should be afraid or amazed. "Hello," Olivia said, her voice cracking from disuse. She had spent so long talking only to her ship computer that addressing another being felt strange. The alien woman made a series of clicking sounds from somewhere in her throat. Her 6-fingered hand pressed against her chest in what seemed like a greeting. Olivia stepped forward cautiously. "How did you get aboard my ship?" The alien tilted her head further, watching Olivia with those unblinking amber eyes. She reached into a pouch at her side and withdrew a small device, holding it toward Olivia. Taking it gingerly, Olivia examined the object. It looked like a translator device, something her own people had developed for first contact situations, but far more advanced. When she pressed the central button, the device hummed to life. Escape, came a mechanical voice from the device. "Hunters coming. Help." Olivia understood immediately. This was a refugee, someone fleeing from something or someone. She knew that feeling all too well, having left Earth to avoid her own problems. The vastness of space offered plenty of hiding places for those who needed them. "You can stay here for now," Olivia said slowly, making sure the translator caught her words. "What should I call you?" The alien made more clicking sounds, which the translator rendered as designation unnecessary. "Gratitude. Extended." Olivia shook her head. "Everyone needs a name. I think I'll call you Amber for your eyes." The alien woman blinked for the first time since appearing on the ship. The translator remained silent, but her tail swished in what Olivia interpreted as pleasure. Amber followed Olivia through the narrow corridors of the ship, her tall frame having to duck beneath doorways designed for humans. The patrol ship was small, just big enough for a crew of 3, though Olivia had been manning it alone. It had 2 sleeping quarters, a galley, a small medical bay, and the bridge. The engines and cargo bay took up most of the space. Olivia showed Amber to the unused crew quarters. "This can be your room," she said. "It's not much, but it's private." Amber touched the walls with her scaled fingers, examining everything with careful attention. She made more clicking sounds, and the translator spoke. "Safe place." "Thank you. Do you need food, water?" Olivia asked, suddenly realizing she had no idea what an alien like Amber might require to survive. Amber reached into her pouch again and pulled out what looked like glowing blue crystals. She held them up. "Have sustenance, need only water and light." Olivia nodded, relieved that feeding her unexpected guest wouldn't be complicated. The ship had plenty of water, and the lighting systems could be adjusted for brightness. That night, Olivia lay awake in her quarters, listening to the soft sounds of Amber moving around in the room next door. It had been so long since she had shared space with another. Being the loneliness of deep space patrol had become normal, even comfortable in its predictability. Now everything felt different, charged with uncertainty and possibility. Morning came with the artificial lighting cycle of the ship. Olivia found Amber in the galley area, her scales seeming brighter, more vibrant than the day before. She stood near the window, staring out at the stars, her tail moving slowly back and forth. "Did you sleep okay?" Olivia asked, pouring herself a cup of the synthetic coffee that was her one luxury on long patrols. Amber turned the translator device in her hand. "Rest achieved. Your son different from home son. But good. Where is your home?" Olivia asked. Sitting at the small table, Amber made a gesture toward a distant point in space far beyond third spiral arm, planet of 3 moons and blue rings, beautiful place, peaceful, until hunters came. What do these hunters want? Olivia asked. Why are they after you? Amber's scales darkened slightly. My kind valuable. Empathic. Abilities rare and galaxy collectors pay much for us as pets, as tools. She paused, her tail going completely still. Hunters destroy villages, take strongest specimens, sell to highest bidder. Olivia felt anger rising within her. The idea of sentient beings being captured and sold as pets was revolting. Even in the darkest corners of human history, slavery had been a terrible wrong. How did you escape? Olivia asked. I was taken, Amber explained through the translator. Ship had malfunction. Near your patrol, Zone used moment of confusion to access escape pod. Found your ship, hit aboard. Hoped for mercy. You're safe here, Olivia promised, though she wondered how long that would be true. Her small patrol vessel was no match for a hunter ship if they tracked. Amber here. That day, Olivia showed Amber how the ship systems worked. The alien learned quickly, her 6-fingered hands moving with surprising dexterity over the control panels. Her height allowed her to reach parts of the ship that Olivia struggled with, making repairs easier. By evening, they had fallen into an unexpected rhythm, working together as if they had been crewmates for years. Olivia found herself talking more than she had in months, telling Amber about Earth, about the stars, about her decision to take this lonely assignment. Your sadness deep, Amber said suddenly as they sat in the observation room watching the stars. Why alone in space? The question caught Olivia off guard. She had spent so long avoiding thinking about why she had taken this solo mission at the edge of human territory, running, I guess. Just like you from Hunters? Amber asked, her head tilting in that now familiar way. From myself mostly, Olivia admitted. From mistakes. From people I hurt. From a life that didn't work anymore. Amber reached across the table, her scaled hand resting lightly on Olivia's. Running doesn't fix, only hides for time. There was wisdom in those simple words that struck Olivia deeply. She had been hiding, not healing. That night, when the ship's proximity alarm went off, Olivia knew their brief peace had ended. Amber stood in the doorway of the bridge, her scales pale with fear. They found me. Olivia rushed to the control panel, checking the scanner. A large ship was approaching fast, its design unlike anything in human databases. The hunters had found them. We need to run. Olivia said, her fingers flying over the controls, preparing the engines for maximum thrust. Amber moved beside her, scale shifting to a deeper blue. Her 6 fingers danced across the secondary controls with surprising skill. No more running, she said through the translator. Let me help. Before Olivia could ask what she meant, Amber placed her palm flat against the communications panel. Her scales began to glow from within, pulsing with an internal light that seemed to flow from her core to her fingertips. The approaching ship suddenly slowed its straight path, becoming erratic on the scanner. The comm system crackled with confused voices speaking an alien language Olivia couldn't understand. What did you do? Olivia asked. Amazed sent confusion. Amber explained, her scales dimming as she removed her hand from the panel, made them see things that are not there. Will not last long, but gives time. Olivia didn't waste the opportunity. She plotted a course toward the nearby asteroid belt, where they could hide. The ship lurched forward as she pushed the engines beyond safety limits. They spent hours weaving through the dense field of space rocks, hearts pounding with each near miss. Finally, when they were deep enough to be hidden, Olivia cut the engines, allowing them to drift silently. They will not find, now, Amber said with certainty, her color returning to normal. Safe for now. That night, exhausted from their escape, Olivia found Amber curled in the corner of her quarters, her tail wrapped protectively around herself. You can sleep here, Olivia offered, patting the space beside her on the bed. Probably more comfortable than the floor. Amber hesitated, then gracefully unfolded her long body, settling beside Olivia. Her scales shimmered in the dim light as she relaxed. Thank you for protecting me, Olivia whispered. You could have given yourself up, saved yourself trouble. Amber's tail moved to rest lightly across Olivia's legs. You gave name, gave purpose, gave home. We protect each other. Now as days passed hiding in the asteroid field, Olivia learned more about Amber's people. They were called the Vishtai, a species from a distant world with 3 moons. They lived in harmony with their environment, their empathic abilities, allowing them to connect deeply with all living things around them. My people rarely leave home world. Amber explained one day as they shared a meal in the small galley. No need for space travel when connection to all life is strong. Already feel complete. Then how did the hunters find you? Olivia asked. Amber's tail swished sadly. Scout, ship from distant world came for trade. Seemed friendly at first, then returned with hunter ships. Took many of my kind, I was teacher of young ones, they took me first. Olivia reached out, placing her hand on Amber's arm. I'm sorry that happened to you. For weeks they drifted through the asteroid field, changing position regularly to avoid detection. Amber helped Olivia repair systems and improve the ship's efficiency. Her knowledge of energy patterns and flow turned out to be invaluable. In return, Olivia taught Amber about human culture, sharing music, books, and stories from Earth. Your species feels so strongly, Amber said one evening, as they watched an old movie Olivia had saved. Joy, sadness, anger, love. All like bright colors. We feel more like soft whispers. That why you stay near me, Olivia asked. To feel stronger emotions. Amber's tail swished in what Olivia now recognized as amusement. No. Stay, because you gave name. You saw me. Not just alien. Not just refugee. You gave designation made. Me someone. The admission touched Olivia deeply. She hadn't realized how significant the simple act of naming had been. One evening, as they sat in the observation room, watching distant stars, Olivia finally shared her own story. I was a pilot for emergency rescue teams on Earth, she began. Saved people from disasters, natural catastrophes, space accidents. Loved my work. Thought I was making a difference. Amber listened silently, her amber eyes fixed on Olivia. Then came the mining colony collapse on Mars. Olivia continued. 300 people trapped. I was first responder, had to make choice which section to save first. Chose wrong section. 100 people died. People who might have lived if I'd gone to them first. Everyone blamed me. Called me hero. Turned villain. News reports, investigations, couldn't face it anymore. So I took this patrol assignment far from everyone. Far from memories. Amber's tail moved slowly, thoughtfully. Choice difficult, she said, finally. No right answer. Only pain. But I should have known better, Olivia insisted. I had the experience, the training. I failed. The Amber touched Olivia's face with her scaled fingers. Feel their loss. Feel your pain. But choice was not failure. Was only choice. You carry weight not yours to bear. Tears filled Olivia's eyes. It had been so long since she had allowed herself to feel anything about that day. The weight of guilt had become so familiar, she hardly noticed it anymore. But Amber's words sparked something, a small flicker of forgiveness she hadn't permitted herself. The next morning, Olivia awoke to find Amber at the ship's controls. Her scales were pulsing with that internal light again. Her 6 fingers spread wide over the navigation panel. What are you doing? Olivia asked, alarmed. Amber turned, her amber eyes intense. Hunters getting closer. Need better hiding place. Found something interesting. Her tail pointed to a section of the scanner display showing an anomaly in the asteroid field. Olivia studied the readings. That looks like a cave or tunnel through one of the larger asteroids. Yes, Amber confirmed, big enough for ship-perfect hiding place. They carefully navigated toward the massive asteroid, taking hours to approach without drawing attention. The opening was barely visible, a crack in the surface that widened as they got closer. Just large enough for the ship to squeeze through. Olivia held her breath as she guided the vessel into the narrow passage. The ship's exterior scraped against rock, sending vibrations through the hull. Finally, they emerged into a hollow cavity inside the asteroid, large enough to hold several ships like theirs. The scanner showed the cavity was stable, with breathable atmosphere trapped inside, a miracle of nature. We can power down here, Olivia said, relief washing over her. Only emergency systems needed, almost invisible to sensors. Amber's scales brightened with what Olivia now recognized as happiness. Safe place found home for now. They settled into a new routine in their asteroid hideaway. With the ship powered down to minimum, they spent time exploring the hollow interior of the asteroid, discovering that it contained not only air but also ice deposits, which they could melt for fresh water. Each day they grew closer. Amber, teaching Olivia about the subtle communication of emotions that her people used. Olivia showing Amber how to cook simple human foods, which the alien found fascinating. At night, they would look at star charts together, planning where they might go. Next, once it was safe to leave their hiding place, perhaps we find others like me. Amber suggested others who escaped, maybe formed colony, or we could try to contact Earth. Olivia said, "Get help for your people." Amber's tail swished doubtfully. "Your people. Help aliens in trouble?" "Some would," Olivia admitted. "Not all humans are good, but many would fight to protect your people from hunters," as they discussed possibilities. Amber suddenly stiffened her scales, paling to almost white. "Feel something," she said, urgently, "not alone here." Olivia reached for her scanner, but before she could check it, the ship rocked violently. An explosion echoed through the asteroid cavity. "They found us," Amber whispered. But how, Olivia wondered. The ship was powered down. They were hidden inside solid rock. The answer came with a second explosion and the sound of metal cutting through stone. The hunters hadn't tracked them. They had followed them, watching and waiting for them to find a secure hiding place. Now they were trapped. Olivia grabbed Amber's hand, pulling her toward the emergency gear locker. "We need to move fast," she said. Grabbing breath masks and portable lights, the hunter's ship was cutting through the asteroid's outer shell, creating its own entrance. The sound of grinding rock echoed through the hollow space. "No time for ship," Amber said, her scales shifting to a dark, worried blue. "They block exit." Olivia nodded quickly, assessing their options. The asteroid was large, with numerous tunnels and crevices they had discovered during their stay. If they couldn't escape in the ship, they would have to hide and hope for another chance. "Follow me," Olivia whispered, leading Amber away from their vessel and toward a narrow fissure they had explored days earlier. The crack in the asteroid's interior wall barely looked wide enough for Amber's tall frame, but they had no choice. They squeezed through the opening just as bright lights flooded the main cavity. Behind them they heard the heavy thud of the hunter ship completing its entry and the hiss of an airlock opening. The tunnel they entered was tight and winding, barely illuminated by the small lights Olivia carried. They moved as quickly as possible deeper into the asteroid's maze-like interior. Amber's tail occasionally brushing against the walls, sending small cascades of dust behind them. "Stop," Amber whispered suddenly, her scales glowing faintly, providing additional light in the darkness. "Feel them searching. 3 hunters. Not like any species. Dangerous." "How dangerous?" Olivia asked. Amber's expression was grim in the dim light. "They eat what they hunt." The revelation sent a chill through Olivia. These weren't just poachers or slavers, but predators who saw other sentient beings as food. She tightened her grip on the small stun gun she had brought, knowing it would likely be useless against determined hunters. They continued moving through the tunnels, Amber using her empathic abilities to sense the hunters' locations and guide them. Away Olivia, trying to map their path in her mind in case they needed to find their way back. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by their breathing and occasional whispered updates from Amber about the hunters' movements. They went deeper into the asteroid than they had ever explored before, eventually emerging into a larger cavern with multiple tunnel entrances. Olivia checked their oxygen levels, running low but still enough for several more hours. Their bigger problem was water, and food they had brought nothing with them in their hurried escape. Something glittered in Olivia's light beam as she scanned the cavern. The walls weren't made of ordinary rock, but contained veins of crystal similar to the sustenance crystals. Amber noticed 2 moving quickly to the wall. Her fingers traced the crystal lines, her scales brightening with recognition. "Life crystals," she said excitedly. "Same as home," Same as food. Can you use them? Olivia asked. Amber nodded. Breaking off a small piece. The crystal glowed brighter in her hand. Gives strength, gives energy, can help us hide. She closed her eyes, pressing the crystal against her chest scales. The crystal seemed to melt into her skin, causing her entire body to glow briefly, before fading to a perfect match for the surrounding rock walls. Camouflage, Amber explained. Now show you. She pressed her hand against Olivia's arm. A tingling sensation spread across Olivia's skin. Looking down, she gasped, as her own skin took on the exact pattern and color of the nearby rocks. The hunters can't see us, Olivia asked, amazed. Not with eyes, Amber confirmed, but can still smell, can still hear. We must be still silent. They positioned themselves against the cavern wall, becoming nearly invisible just as sounds echoed from one of the tunnels. Heavy footsteps and clicking noises that reminded Olivia of Amber's language, but harsher, more guttural. The hunters entered the cavern, 3 towering figures even taller than Amber. Their bodies were skeletal with elongated limbs and faces that seemed to be all teeth and eyes. They carried weapons that looked partially organic with pulsing veins running along metal barrels. Olivia held her breath as the hunters swept the cavern with lights and scanning devices. Their movements were jerky, almost insect-like as they communicated with sharp clicks and hisses. One hunter approached so close to their hiding spot that its breath stirred Olivia's hair, but it moved on, apparently unable to detect them. When the hunters finally left, taking a different tunnel, Olivia released her breath. Her heart was pounding so hard she was sure it would give them away. They waited nearly an hour before Amber deemed it safe to move. The camouflage effect gradually faded, returning their appearance to normal. We need to get back to the ship, Olivia whispered. Amber shook her head. Too dangerous. Ship watched. They expect us to return. What can we do? Then, Olivia asked. Amber's expression was determined. Find their ship. Take it. The boldness of the plan startled Olivia. That's suicide. They outnumber us. They're bigger, stronger, and they have weapons. Amber's tail swished confidently. Have advantage. They not expect attack. Think we hide like prey. They wrong. Despite her misgivings, Olivia had to admit they had few options. Their own ship was likely under guard and their supplies were limited. They needed to act, rather than hide indefinitely in the asteroid's depths, using Amber's empathic sense to avoid the hunting party. They made their way through the tunnel, circling back toward the main cavity where both ships were docked. As they got closer, Amber gathered more of the energy crystals, absorbing their power. Her scales glowed with increasing intensity. When they finally reached a vantage point overlooking the main cavity, they could see both ships. The hunters had docked alongside Olivia's patrol vessel. 2 hunters stood guard, while the third was nowhere to be seen, likely still searching the tunnels. A hunter ship was larger than Olivia had expected, with an organic appearance that suggested it was partially grown rather than built. Its hull was ridged with what looked like bone and muscle, giving it an unsettling living quality. Amber studied the ship, her head tilted. Know this design, she said, used to transport captured ones. Controls simple. Need only hand contact to fly. What about the guards? Olivia asked. Amber held up a crystal pulsing with energy. Can overload their senses. Create distraction. You run to ship, I follow. It was risky, but they had no better plan. Olivia nodded, gripping her stun gun, though she doubted it would do much against the hunters. Amber closed her eyes, concentrating. The crystal in her hand grew brighter and brighter, until Olivia had to look away. Then Amber threw it into the open cavity, where it exploded in a blinding flash of light and energy. The guards reacted immediately, screeching in pain as their senses were overwhelmed. Olivia sprinted from their hiding place, running toward the hunter ship. Amber close behind her. Her heart pounded in her ears as she expected at any moment to feel the burn of a weapon or the grip of clawed hands, but the distraction worked. They reached the hunter ship's entry port, which opened at Amber's touch. They tumbled inside as the guards began to recover. Amber rushed to the control panel, placing both hands on its surface. The ship hummed to life, systems activating under her touch. Close door, Amber commanded, and the Entry port sealed shut just as one of the hunters reached it. Its roar of rage was audible even through the hull. "Can you fly this thing?" Olivia asked breathlessly. Amber's scales pulsed with concentration. "Not like your ship. Different but simple energy. Responds to thought to emotion." The ship began to move, pulling away from the asteroid wall. The remaining hunter fired its weapon, the energy blast rocking the ship but causing no serious damage. The organic hull seemed to absorb and distribute the impact as they cleared the entrance they had cut into the asteroid. Olivia looked back at her patrol vessel, now abandoned. "I'm going to miss that ship," she said with unexpected emotion. "It was my home, for a long time." Amber's tail touched Olivia's arm, gently. "Home not place, home is connection. You taught me this." The hunter ship accelerated away from the asteroid field, responding to Amber's guidance. Its systems were strange to Olivia, with few recognizable controls or displays. Everything seemed to operate through direct contact with the organic interfaces. "Where should we go?" Olivia asked. Watching the stars through the view screen, Amber was silent for a long moment, her scales shifting through colors as she thought. "Have idea," she said finally. "No place where others like me hide, safe place far from hunters, far from human space. Can we make it there in this ship?" Olivia asked. Amber nodded. "This ship fast, built to chase, built to hunt, now takes us to freedom." As they left the asteroid field, behind, a new feeling grew in Olivia's chest. For the first time since the Mars disaster, she felt something like hope. The guilt and shame that had driven her to the edges of space hadn't disappeared, but they had changed, somehow become bearable, in Amber's presence. Looking at the alien woman now confidently guiding their stolen ship through space, Olivia realized how much had changed in the short time since Amber had appeared in her cargo bay. She had gone from running away to running toward something, from hiding to fighting, from alone to together. The hunter ship surged forward, stars blurring as it entered faster than light travel. Amber's scales glowed with determination as she set course for a new beginning. The hunter ship moved through space faster than any human vessel Olivia had ever piloted. Days passed as they traveled deeper into unknown regions, following coordinates only Amber understood. The ship itself was unsettling, with its partially organic systems that seemed to pulse and breathe. The walls had a slight give to them when touched, and sometimes Olivia swore she could feel the vessel adjusting its temperature to match their comfort needs. "It's alive, isn't it?" Olivia asked on their third day of travel, watching as Amber communed with the ship, her scales glowing softly as she touched the control interface. "Partly," Amber confirmed, not fully conscious but aware. "Grown, not built. Hunters use living ships to track living prey." The thought made Olivia uncomfortable. She had grown up with mechanical ships, dependable and predictable. This organic vessel felt unpredictable. Almost moody. "Can it be trusted?" Olivia asked. "Can it betray us to the hunters?" Amber's tail swished thoughtfully. "Ship. Bonded to pilot, not hunters. I am pilot now." Ship follows. Her 6 fingers spread wider across the interface. It learns new purpose. Despite Amber's confidence, Olivia found herself sleeping lightly, ready for trouble. The ship made strange noises at night, groans and whispers that sounded almost like voices. She often woke to find Amber already up, communing with the vessel, her scales pulsing in patterns that matched the ship's own internal lights. On the 5th day of their journey, Amber suddenly stiffened, her scales paling to white. "We are followed," she said. Olivia rushed to the scanner controls but saw nothing. "How do you know?" "Feel them," Amber explained. "Ship feels them too. Hunter mothership. Bigger, stronger. Coming fast." Olivia felt a surge of fear. The small hunter vessel they had stolen was impressive, but a mothership would be something else entirely. "Can we outrun it?" Amber's scales darkened with concern. "For time, not forever. Need to hide." Olivia studied the navigation display. They were passing through a dense nebula, a cloud of gas and dust that interfered with most scanning systems. Perfect for hiding. She pointed to a particularly dense section of the nebula. There, we can power down drift. Maybe they'll pass by. Amber guided the ship into the colorful cloud particles of dust and gas swirling around them in brilliant blues and purples. The view screen automatically adjusted, preventing the bright colors from blinding them. As they penetrated deeper into the nebula, the ship's systems began to flicker and strain. Something wrong, Amber said suddenly, her scales pulsing with alarm. Ship struggling to breathe. Olivia hadn't considered that an organic ship might have trouble in the nebula's harsh environment. Just like a living creature, it probably wasn't designed to survive in the chemical soup surrounding them. Can you help it? Olivia asked. Amber placed both hands on the control interface, her scales glowing brightly. Giving energy, helping ship filter, telling it how to adapt. The ship shuddered violently, then steadied its systems, returning to normal. Amber slumped slightly, the effort clearly draining her. Olivia helped her to a resting area. Ship. Okay. Now, Amber nodded tiredly. Learning, adapting, but cannot stay long. Nebula toxic to ship systems. They powered down to minimum, settling into the nebula's concealing clouds. The mothership would have to find them among countless hiding places. All they needed was time. Hours passed in tense silence as they drifted. The ship occasionally trembled as if in discomfort, despite Amber's continued efforts to soothe it. Through the view screen, the nebula was breathtaking, swirls of color and light dancing around them like an endless storm. Olivia found herself thinking about Earth, about the life she had left behind. Had anyone noticed her absence when she failed to report in from her patrol route? Did anyone care? Was there anyone left who would remember Olivia Young? The disgraced rescue pilot ship needs to move soon, Amber said, breaking into Olivia's thoughts. Too much damage from nebula. But the mothership, Olivia began. Gone for now. Amber said, cannot track us here, but will wait at nebula edge. Patient hunters. They were trapped. Either stay in the nebula until the ship deteriorated or leave and face the mothership. Neither option promised survival. Olivia studied the ship's systems, looking for any advantage. The organic nature that had seemed so alien now gave her an idea. If the ship was partly alive, perhaps it could heal itself. Can the ship repair damage if given the right materials? Olivia asked. Amber tilted her head, considering. Yes, with right energy, right matter. Can heal, grow stronger. The nebula around them contained various elements and compounds, some potentially useful for an organic vessel. We need to collect materials from the nebula, Olivia explained. Find what the ship needs to repair itself, make it stronger, maybe even adapt it to survive here. Longer, Amber's eyes brightened, understanding. How the ship has collection systems for gathering specimens, Olivia said, pointing to a section of the control panel. Hunters would use them to capture beings like you. We can use them to gather nebula materials. They work together, activating the collection systems. External arms extended from the ship, gathering gas and dust particles from specific areas of the nebula that Amber sensed would be beneficial. The ship seemed to respond positively, its systems stabilizing as the new materials were processed. Amber communed with the vessel, directing the integration of the new elements. Her scales glowed with intense concentration as she guided the ship's healing process. Ship changing, Amber announced after several hours, growing new layers. Protection against nebula. Olivia watched in amazement as the ship's hull visibly transformed, developing a thicker outer membrane that shimmered with the same colors as the nebula around them. The vessel was adapting, camouflaging itself. Maybe we don't need to run, Olivia suggested. Maybe we can hide in plain sight. Amber considered this, her tail swishing thoughtfully. Ship can appear as nebula matter now, but mothership has other senses. Not just vision. Smell, heat, vibration. Still, it bought them time. And with the ship's new protection, they could travel deeper into the nebula, perhaps find a path through to the other side, one the mothership wouldn't expect them to take. For 3 more days, they navigated the nebula's labyrinthine clouds. The ship continued to adapt, growing stronger, more attuned to its environment. Amber spent hours merged with the control systems guiding these changes, sometimes so deeply connected that she barely responded to Olivia's questions. Olivia began to worry, watching Amber's scales grow dimmer with each passing day. The effort of directing the ship's transformation was draining her. You need to rest? Olivia insisted on the fourth day. You're giving too much energy to the ship. Amber's eyes seemed unfocused. Almost done, she whispered. Ship almost ready for final change. What final change? Olivia asked, alarmed. Before Amber could answer, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as something massive appeared on their sensors. Found, Amber gasped. Mothership found path through nebula. On the view screen. Olivia saw a colossal vessel emerging from the colorful clouds. Its design was similar to their ship, but vastly larger, with what looked like hundreds of smaller craft attached to its hull. Like parasites, its surface rippled with muscle-like contractions as it moved purposefully toward them. We need to run, Olivia said, preparing the engines. No, Amber said with unexpected firmness. Time for final change. Need your help. What do you mean, Olivia? Asked, confused. Amber took Olivia's hands, placing them on the control interface alongside her own. Need human adaptability. Need Vishtai empathy. Together show ship new way. Olivia felt a strange tingling as her hands sank slightly into the organic controls. The sensation was uncomfortable but not painful. She could feel the ship somehow sense its struggle against the nebula's effects and its fear of the approaching mothership. Think of change. Amber instructed. Think of becoming something new, something unexpected. Olivia closed her eyes, trying to focus. As a pilot, she had always thought of ships as tools, as machines. Now she needed to think of this vessel as a partner, a living being capable of transformation. She thought of the nebula, of its beautiful colors and patterns, of how it could conceal and protect. She felt Amber's consciousness alongside her own, guiding, showing her how to connect with the ship. On the edge of her awareness, she sensed the mothership drawing closer, hunting, them preparing weapons. The ship trembled around them, systems fluctuating wildly. Amber's scales began to glow intensely brighter than Olivia had ever seen. The light spread from Amber into the ship's controls, then throughout the vessel. Happening. Amber whispered, change coming. The ship lurched, suddenly spinning in place. Its hull rippled and flowed like liquid metal, reforming, reshaping. The view screen showed their vessel dissolving, its defined edges blurring as it took on the exact appearance of the nebula around them. Not just camouflage, Olivia realized with shock. They were becoming part of the nebula itself. The mothership slowed, clearly, confused by their disappearance. Its sensors swept the area, hunting for any trace of them. But the transformation was complete. Their ship was now indistinguishable from the surrounding cosmic cloud, a perfect mimicry down to its energy. Signature were hidden, Olivia whispered. Amazed more than hidden, Amber said, her voice weak from effort. We are. Nebula now can move through hidden, can go anywhere within. The mothership continued to search, moving past them without any sign of detection. Eventually, after hours of fruitless hunting, it retreated its massive form, disappearing back into the depths of space. We did it, Olivia said, turning to Amber only to find the alien woman collapsed on the floor, her scales dim, almost colorless. Amber, she cried, gathering her into her arms. Days passed as they drifted through the nebula. Their ship, now more a part of the cosmic cloud than a distinct vessel, moved effortlessly through areas that would have been impassable before. The transformation had given them perfect camouflage and unexpected freedom. Amber recovered slowly, her scales regaining their vibrant turquoise glow. The ship seemed attentive to her needs, adjusting temperature and light, creating nutrient-rich atmospheres in certain chambers that helped restore her energy. Olivia spent hours at the view screen watching the nebula's beauty unfold around them. The colors shifted constantly from deep purples to brilliant blues, occasionally flashing with the birth of new stars. She had never seen anything so magnificent. In all her years of space travel, when Amber was strong enough, she joined Olivia at the controls, showing her how to communicate directly with the ship without words. The vessel responded to emotions, to intentions, making traditional piloting unnecessary. Ship, happy, Amber said one day as they navigated through a particularly dense cloud. Free from hunters. Free to choose. Can it really think like that? Olivia asked, still adjusting to the idea of the ship as a conscious entity. Not think like you or me, Amber, explained her tail moving in thoughtful patterns, but feels no difference between capture and freedom. Between cruelty and kindness, they had been traveling for nearly 2 weeks, when Amber announced they were approaching the edge of the nebula. Soon we reach hidden place, she said. Safe colony. Where my kind found freedom, Olivia felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Would she be welcome among Amber's people? Would they accept a human among them? She had grown so accustomed to their life aboard the ship, just the two of them, that the thought of joining others was strangely intimidating. The nebula thinned gradually, revealing open space beyond Amber, guided their vessel, carefully maintaining its camouflage until they were certain no hunter ships lurked nearby. Only then did she allow the ship to partially return to its solid form, though it retained the beautiful coloration of the nebula. Ahead, a small planetoid orbited a distant star. Its surface appeared barren from a distance, with no obvious signs of habitation. As they drew closer, however, Olivia began to see subtle indications of civilization, carefully concealed entrances in mountain ranges, artificial structures that blended perfectly with the natural landscape. Like the ship, the colony was hidden in plain sight. Amber sent a signal, a series of pulses that matched the rhythm of her glowing scales. For several tense moments there was no response. Then a section of the planetoid's surface shifted, revealing a docking bay large enough for their vessel welcome message. Amber explained, her tail swishing with excitement. They know I return. The ship descended smoothly into the hidden bay. The doors closed above them, concealing their presence once more. Several figures approached, tall and graceful like Amber, with the same scaled bodies and swishing tails. Though their coloration varied from deep green to pale blue, Amber stood at the exit port, excitement visible in her glowing scales. First contact with her people. Since her escape, Olivia stayed slightly behind, uncertain of her place in this reunion. When the door opened, Amber stepped forward, meeting the waiting group. The air filled with clicking sounds and musical tones as they communicated in their native language. Their tails moved in synchronized patterns, conveying emotions Olivia couldn't interpret. Vishtai stepped forward, older than the others, with scales that had faded to a silvery blue. Amber bowed her head in respect as the elder placed 6-fingered hands on her shoulders. After a moment of communication, Amber turned to Olivia, beckoning her forward. This Shala, elder of colony, she explained, wants to meet one who saved me. Olivia approached nervously. The elder studied her with unblinking, amber eyes similar to Amber's, but deeper, somehow more knowing. Olivia felt as if she were being examined down to her soul. Welcome, human friend, Shala said through a translator device similar to Amber's. Rare to find one who sees beyond appearance. Rarer still to find one who gives name. Amber told you about that? Olivia asked, surprised. Shala's tail moved in what might have been amusement. Names powerful to our kind, not given lightly. You named Amber gave identity beyond refugee, beyond survivor. For this we thank you. The elder gestured toward the colony entrance. Come see our home. Many things to show, many things to learn. The hidden colony was far larger than Olivia had imagined. Tunnels stretched deep into the planetoid, opening into vast caverns where buildings rose like natural formations. Everywhere crystal formations similar to those they had found in the asteroid glowed, providing light and energy. Vishtai moved through the spaces, their scaled bodies shimmering in the crystal light. What amazed Olivia most was how alive everything felt. The buildings seemed to breathe, growing and shifting subtly. The crystal gardens pulsed with energy. Even the air felt charged with consciousness. Your people built all this? Olivia asked, as Amber guided her through the main settlement. Not built, Amber corrected. Grew encouraged, partnered with planetoid, with crystals. All things connected, all things alive in some way. Shala led them to a central chamber where dozens of Vishtai had gathered. Many approached Amber, touching her scales, clicking in their language, expressing what seemed like relief and joy at her return. Others watched Olivia with curious, tilted heads, their tails swishing with interest. One small, Vishitai, a child, perhaps based on size, approached Olivia without fear. The young one studied her with wide amber eyes, then reached out to touch Olivia's hand. No scales, the child said through a translator device. The words sounded confused, almost concerned. Olivia smiled, kneeling to the child's level. No scales, she agreed. Just skin different, but still good. The child considered this. Then suddenly her scales shifted color, matching the tone of Olivia's skin as closely as possible. The perfect mimicry startled. Olivia now same, the child announced proudly. Laughter rippled through the gathered Vishtai, a musical sound like wind chimes. Amber's tail swished with amusement. Young ones learn quickly. She explained accept differences by finding similarities, and the days that followed, Olivia learned more about the colony and its residents. Nearly 200 Vishitai lived in the hidden settlement, all escaped or rescued from hunters. Most, like Amber, had been taken from their homeworld, but some had been born in captivity, never knowing their ancestral planet until they found this refuge. Each had a story of escape, of courage, of finding their way to this secret place. Some had been helped by sympathetic members of other species, but Olivia learned she was the first human to ever set foot in the colony. You trust me with your secret, Olivia said to Shala during a shared meal. I'm honored, but surprised. The elder's tail moved thoughtfully. Amber shared mind with you. Shared energy. Showed us your heart, your shame from past. Your search for redemption. We see true self, not just human. The Vishtai ability to sense emotions, to see beyond surface appearances, was both comforting and unsettling to Olivia. There was no hiding here, no pretending, but perhaps that was what she needed after years of running from herself. One evening, as they sat in a crystal garden, watching the glowing formations pulse with light, Amber asked the question Olivia had been avoiding. Will you stay with colony with me or return to human space? Olivia looked up at the carved ceiling of the cavern, knowing that beyond it lay the stars, the vast emptiness of space and somewhere distant Earth with all its painful memories. What was there to return to? A life of solitary patrols, whispers, and accusations. A past she couldn't change. Here in this hidden place she had found something unexpected. Acceptance, purpose, connection. The Vishtai didn't care about her mistakes. They saw her efforts, her intentions, her heart. Place is here, Olivia said finally. If you'll have me. Amber's scales brightened with joy, her tail moving in excited patterns. Always have place. Our ship needs pilot, colony needs bridge to other worlds, needs someone who gives names, Shala announced. The news to the colony that evening. A human would join them, permanently living among them, learning their ways, teaching them about humanity. The announcement was met with clicks and trills of approval. Olivia found herself surrounded by Vishitai, each touching her briefly with six-fingered hands, welcoming her to their family. That night, in the quarters they had been given, Amber showed Olivia a small crystal garden she had started. Already the crystals were taking on a unique pattern, growing in response to their shared presence. Our home, Amber said simply. The words held such weight, such meaning, that Olivia felt tears form in her eyes. For years she had drifted, literally and figuratively, unanchored, unconnected, running from a past she couldn't change. Now, in this hidden colony, with this remarkable being who had crashed into her life, she had found solid ground. The ship that had brought them here had been given a place in the colony's small fleet. It retained its nebula-like appearance, setting it apart from the other vessels. The Vishtai treated it with special reverence, seeing in it a symbol of transformation, of finding new purpose through connection. Olivia visited it often, sometimes alone, sometimes with Amber. The ship seemed to recognize her, responding to her presence with subtle changes in light and temperature. Its organic nature no longer seemed alien, but comforting, familiar. One cycle, a human measurement roughly equivalent to 6 months after their arrival, Amber took Olivia to a special chamber deep in the colony, a place reserved for important ceremonies. The elder Shala waited there along with several other colony leaders.